Welcome to our Roundtable Q&A event with our parents today. This event will give you all the opportunity to hear from our current parents about their personal experiences as they share their unique perspectives on our school during the 60-minute virtual panel discussion. From our culture, values, and strengths to a frank look at our challenges and weaknesses. A total of 5 sets of questions have been given to our panel of parents prior to our meeting today. Today, we will hear their individual views and insights regarding our school. Now, we do not have any audiences right now. However, if we do have any interested parents, they may pose their own questions to our panel through the Zoom chat function in Zoom. They will also indicate if their question is meant for a particular panelist. And we will answer all the questions at the end of the event. All right, without further ado, it is our pleasure to introduce all the audiences to our panel of parents. We will first introduce Alia Jiwantawa. She is a former television journalist who worked as a TV news reporter, anchor, and producer before moving into the world of media relations. She owns a communications consulting firm servicing a wide range of clients, but finds her toughest clients are her 2 young children. Next, I would like to introduce Winnie Look. Winnie is a project manager at a drug research company that carries out preclinical drug testing. Her primary focuses are on pain and epilepsy, cognitive disorder, and Parkinson's disease models. She is the mother of 2 children, both attending our school. Both children were introduced to the school at 12 months of age and have advanced to CASA and JK French immersion classes. And finally, we have Natalie Khan. Natalie is a mother of one 5-year-old who attends our school as well in the French immersion classroom. Natalie just completed her MBA and works full-time as a director of digital marketing. She enjoys different activities with her daughter, such as crafts, music, and sports. Right. Now we will begin with the Q&A session. The first question today is, why did you choose the school originally? In which ways is the school what you expected, and in which ways it is not? We will assign this question to Alia. Alia, would you like to give some feedback, please?
Sure. So our first foray into looking into Montessori was almost 8 years ago with our first child. And so as new parents, it was a really nerve-wracking experience looking for someone that was essentially, we're going to be handing over our baby. He was just a few weeks shy of a year old, had been at home with me while I was on mat leave, and I had to go back to work. And so, you know, we thought we knew what we were looking for. There were certain things that we first set out to look for. First was we were looking for a place that was recommended by people we knew, so that we had personal references, you know, that they'd had that experience and what they thought of it, what they liked, what they disliked. The other thing we were looking for, obviously, is a place that would be loving, because we were handing off our baby to these people. So we wanted a place where, you know, the teachers really looked like they loved their job, they loved the children, a place where, you know, if my baby couldn't take a nap and he needed to be rocked or cuddled, that they would do that, that they had that warmth. You know, we were also looking for a place that had, you know, well-balanced meals. I wasn't looking for anything gourmet because I don't make gourmet food myself, but I wanted a place where, you know, there was some sort of balance between like fruits and vegetables and grains and dairy and protein. Because let's face it, there's things that children won't eat at home, but they'll eat it at daycare or at school with their friends. And so having that balanced meal was obviously another thing that we would want for our child from baby up till the toddler and casa years. And then when it came to Montessori, we wanted to make sure that there was a strong academic focus, because even though as a baby it might not be so important, as he progressed and got older, it was really important that it was a Montessori not just by name but also by practice. So when we toured, we were looking at, what were some of the tools they were using? Were they Montessori tools? And how are they teaching reading and learning, and how are the teachers interacting? But throughout the process, while we were touring, we realized what other things we would really like in a school. And that was, we had a little boy. Our first one's a boy, and he had a lot of energy. And we wanted a place where he could burn off that energy before he came home, because by the time we pick him up, it would be time for bath, dinner, and likely bedtime. And so it was amazing to see that some of the Montessoris that were much closer to home for us didn't even have a playground. They were located in a strip mall or a busy parking lot type of area. They might have a little playground there, but most of them would just put them in a stroller and take them for a walk, or they'd hold a little rope and go for a walk. And I wanted a place where he could burn off energy. So when we went to Sunrise, what was so amazing was not only was there at the time one playground, then they developed a second one, but they had a gym. And in Canada, half the year is too cold to be outside anyway. So the fact that there was a place where the kids could run around and run free was a bonus, something we weren't looking for, but it was great. In terms of how was it what we were looking for, it was everything we were looking for. We wanted that academic focus. We wanted a balance between work and play, because at the end of the day, he was a little kid. We wanted him to still have fun, but to be learning. We wanted a loving environment, and he got that. We have relationships with teachers who may have now moved on, who have still remained a part of our family. So we got all of that. In terms of what we weren't expecting, when we signed up, there was no French immersion. That was an added bonus. We were perfectly content with an English education, and we were going to move to French immersion for public school in grade 1. But Grace can attest, my boy was a little mischievous little boy, had a little too much energy, and she suggested, why don't you give it a try for 30 days? And he went from a really, really naughty little kid to a very studious top student. And so both kids have now gone through Sunrise from infant, toddler, all the way up to Casa. And both kids have been doing French immersion, and they've just been really thriving.
Wonderful. Great. I really like the fact that you love our gym, because that's a prized possession. It's a place where the boys and the kids, the girls, they can run around and, spend a lot of their energy there, right? Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Alia, for your wonderful insight. We would also like to hear from the other two parents on question 1. So perhaps, Winnie, can you also give us some input on question 1?
Yes. So when I was looking for a school before, I wanted to have a school curriculum that had a good balance between play and learning. I didn't want something that was totally academic and it would be really tough for my kids and they won't have fun. And it'll be a straining, strenuous working habit for me, because I'll have to help them practice their homework and things like that. So I wanted them to have fun, and they also had some sort of learning curriculum that they could follow. And the other thing was, obviously the price was very comparable to even daycare, so it was something that I wanted really to consider about. The school hours were also extended, so that for me and my husband, who are both working full-time, it was much more flexible for us to have the opportunity to drop them off early and pick them up later if traffic was a problem that day. As Alia said previously, the gym was really huge, and actually the first time that I went to the school, it was a weekend, and they had a lot of teachers gathered in the school gym because they were doing some sort of meeting. And that, my husband commented, was a great thing, because it meant that the school had some sort of, it was a school that was representative and that the teachers were gathering there to meet. Their classrooms are also really spacious, and they had a big window to have daylight come in. They also had a big window to the hallway, so that was easy for parents to kind of peek at their little children before they kiss them and go for the day. So it also gave me a bit of excitement to kind of peek at them to see what they were doing when I picked them up. I also had a really good impression of Miss Grace because when I went there for the second time, the students were there and she was able to call everyone by name, which was a surprise to me. That was a huge school, and if you're not involved, you won't know the kids by name. So that was another thing that gave me a very good impression. I also had another parent who used to send their two children, much older, to the school, and they also gave very good feedback to me. So that was the reason why I chose the school. The expectations that were met, my kids started from infant class, toddler, and to CASA. Infant class, they learned to walk. I never had the chance to really give them a chance to practice, and infant teacher taught them to walk. In toddler class, they learned their 1, 2, 3s, ABCs, shapes, colors, and everything. So that was great as well. And then in CASA, they started the phonetics, tracing, introduction to math. So everything was met in terms of expectation. What was a little bit, I guess, on the sad side was that some of the teachers left during the school year, and that was not something I would have expected. For me, when I did my primary school or my secondary school, things like that. So, but that's not something the school can really change. And we also grew to love new teachers that took on the place of the teachers who left. So, yeah, generally, I'm very happy with the school.
Thank you, Winnie. We're so glad to hear that you love the facilities as well as the teachers. And I will endeavor to also continue to remember all the names of all our children and parents as well.
And parents,
because,
yes.
Yeah, and parents, because
Yeah.
it gives us a very good connection, a good feeling when I'm able to look at you at the face and call you Winnie instead of hi, mommy, hi, daddy, that kind of thing, right? Wonderful. Now, Natalie, would you like to give some input, please?
Sure. So when I was picking where my daughter was planning to go or where I was planning to send her, there were a lot of factors. I have a child who suffers from anaphylaxis as well as asthmatic problems. So she has quite a few health challenges. So some schools that I went to actually preferred or had limited guidelines in terms of health plans in case of emergency. So that was one of my primary concerns when I'm leaving my 2-year-old with someone, that they would be able to monitor if she was ever in distress. And the comfort level of a lot of the staff that I encountered at other schools was minimal. So that really played into my decision-making process. Now, when I went to Sunrise, I can honestly say it was one of the only locations or schools that I went to, Montessori schools that I went to, that I felt completely comfortable with leaving my child and her having and her well-being. So from start to finish of my day, I didn't have to concern myself with her wellness or her health, because I knew that the teachers and the staff that were taking care of her were taking care of her completely. The other things that I looked for, really, as anybody else, was a good curriculum in terms of education, as well as I was looking for French immersion, which I was pleasantly surprised that Sunrise Montessori had French immersion program. A lot of schools don't have these programs, and I have to say, I mean, my experiences have been with all of the teachers, but the French immersion teachers, which is the path that my daughter's gone on, are absolutely excellent in terms of what they teach the children, how they manage, the English within the classroom, because it's very minimal, if any. And having these children have the capability to comprehend another language and completely speak to them in that language was wonderful at such a young age. Of course, French immersion in primary school and such like that, that's what they do, and that's the goal. But to have it even younger and to be immersed in a different language just really opened my daughter's perspective, and really opened her learning capabilities. So I was really impressed with that. It was definitely an add-on and something that I took very seriously when I was considering a school. And I can't help but say that the staff, regardless of French immersion or not French immersion, are absolutely wonderful. The communication within the school, so as a parent, oftentimes, you know, I've a lot of my, you know, friends and such, they don't know what's going on in the school. And, you know, I also used to always think, well, that's kind of on you to not know, but really and truthfully, it isn't. There's a lot of barriers, I could say, with communication from the schools to the parents. At Sunrise Montessori, there's no barriers. We know what's going on. It's communicated in an efficient manner, and effectively as well. And, you know, the fact that it doesn't feel like a school and it feels like a place, a second home for my child, where she has a very comprehensive learning program, is something that I really, really enjoy. It's something I'm going to miss when she has to go to public school, because it's just a completely different feel. And if you're looking to have your child excel, then I would strongly recommend that these types of programs with Sunrise Montessori would be something that you would really look into, simply for the fact that it's not just a school, it's a second home for your child to learn. In terms of the only thing that I wish would be that they would have, and I've told Ms. Grace this many times, French immersion for grade 1 and up, and hopefully in the future that will expand. But the French immersion program, and I think it's just because it's so excellent and the teachers are so excellent, that I really wish it would be from grade 1 and up as well.
We hear you, Nat. We are looking into it. We hear you. You know, health and safety has always been our primary concern. Even prior to the pandemic, we have been ensuring, especially children who are suffering from anaphylaxis, it is a major concern for everyone. Every single teacher in the school has been very well briefed and trained prior to the child starting with us at any point in time, because we need to know what to do in the event of any incident. So health and safety has always been our #1 priority. And now with the pandemic, even so, with the enhanced cleaning protocols and all that put in place, we have to ensure that the whole place is really safe for all our children.